The most dangerous voice in the room is the one that barely speaks. The Machiavellian communicator does not speak to express themselves, they speak to control outcomes. They remain silent not out of fear or insecurity, but out of focused strategy. Their silence isn't passive, it's deliberate, calculated, and precise. Practical power, the discipline of strategic silence. Adopting Machiavelli's principles doesn't mean you never speak, it means you speak with discipline and direction. 1. Master information asymmetry. In any interaction, power belongs to the one who knows more and reveals less. Ask sharp questions. Listen for subtext. Watch body language. Before revealing your position, gather intelligence. In business, conflict, or negotiation, what you don't say often gives you the upper hand. 2. Use strategic ambiguity. Clarity is powerful, but premature clarity can trap you. When the situation is still unfolding, maintain flexibility. Leave space in your words. This keeps others guessing, gives you room to pivot, and enhances your leverage in leadership, relationships, or rivalries. 3. Turn silence into a power move. Most people fear silence, they rush to fill it. That's when they reveal insecurities, expose strategies, or offer concessions. You, on the other hand, must become comfortable in the stillness. In negotiation, let silence stretch after you speak. In conflict, observe before reacting. In leadership, make firm decisions, then stop talking. The power of the strategic whisper. Machiavellian silence doesn't mean never speaking. It means never wasting words. It means only speaking when your words deliver more value than your silence. Those who master this art use contrast, they reveal little and watch the world overreact. They understand that in an age of noise, selective disclosure is rare, and powerful. A few well-placed words, delivered after long observation, hit harder than constant chatter. But here's the twist. The most dangerous players often go unnoticed. They don't posture or announce, they maneuver silently. They're not busy broadcasting ambition. They're busy winning. While others are still talking about strategy, they've already executed theirs. They don't need to say, "I'm powerful." Their silence says it for them. Machiavelli's timeless insight into human behavior offers a radical strategy for our noisy age: speak less. Watch more. Move in silence. And let your results speak louder than you ever could. Silence is the final word of power. In a world obsessed with attention, noise, and constant self-expression, the one who can hold their tongue holds the advantage. Machiavelli's lesson is clear: true power doesn't shout, it listens, waits, and strikes with precision. Strategic silence isn't about being passive. It's about being undeniably in control. It protects your intentions, conceals your weaknesses, and multiplies your influence. While others rush to be heard, you become the one worth listening to, not because you speak often, but because when you do, it matters. So, if you want to win, truly win, don't just learn to speak better. Learn when not to speak at all. Master the pause. Weaponize the quiet. Let silence do what words never could. That's how power moves. Quietly. Decisively. Unforgettably. The final word is silence, a 2,000-word conclusion on power, restraint, and influence. In the age of information overload and compulsive self-expression, silence has become a revolutionary act. Every day we are bombarded by voices, shouting for attention, begging for validation, drowning in opinion. We live in an environment where people speak not to achieve clarity, but to fill space. They share not to reveal insight, but to project identity. They communicate, but they do not connect. They express, but they rarely influence. And yet, amid all the noise, one archetype rises quietly above the rest: the Machiavellian strategist. This individual understands what most people have forgotten: that communication is not about volume. It's about control. About timing. About leveraging words like weapons, and silence like armor. About choosing not just what to say, but when to say nothing at all. At the heart of this strategy lies an unsettling truth: those who speak less often control more. 1. The illusion of expression. Modern culture equates speaking with strength. We're told to speak our truth, voice our opinions, and express ourselves at every turn. But this impulse, while empowering in the right context, can become self-defeating when unfiltered. Machiavellian silence is not repression, it's refinement. It's not about muzzling your voice, but weaponizing it. It's the understanding that constant expression often serves the ego more than the outcome. Most people speak to feel better. The strategist speaks to do better. Words are costly. They lock you into positions. They reveal your emotional state, your insecurities, your expectations. Every word you give away becomes a potential liability in negotiation, conflict, or competition. What's left unsaid, however, becomes your leverage. 2. Silence as presence, not absence. To the untrained, silence looks like passivity. But to the disciplined mind, silence is a position of strength. When you withhold your words, you create tension. People lean in. They begin to guess, analyze, and interpret. You become unpredictable. This unpredictability is not just mystique, it is influence. People fear what they do not understand. And they respect what they cannot read. Think of a chess master. They don't rush their moves. They wait. They watch. They let their opponent speak, through their positioning, through their impatience, and then they strike. Machiavellian silence functions the same way. It says, I'm not here to react to your tempo. I'm here to set mine. 3. Emotional mastery through restraint. To remain silent in a charged moment is to master yourself. Most people talk too much because they feel too much. Their words are reactions, not responses. They speak out of frustration, fear, anxiety, or insecurity. They give away their position, emotionally and strategically, because they don't know how to sit in discomfort. The Machiavellian figure is different. They feel just as much, perhaps more. But they don't broadcast their inner world. They observe it. They refine it. And then they choose whether it serves a purpose to reveal it, or not. This discipline of silence is one of the highest forms of emotional control. To restrain the impulse to speak when provoked, when flattered, or when tested, is to own your reality rather than react to someone else's. This is not repression. It's sovereignty. 4. The economics of power: speak less, gain more. In the marketplace of attention, scarcity drives value. The more available something is, the less we value it. The same is true for speech. If you're always talking, always explaining, always responding, you dilute your influence. But if you speak rarely, with precision, and only when necessary, your words hit harder. Consider how much power resides in the person who can stay silent during a heated conversation. Who can walk away without needing the last word. Who doesn't explain, justify, or plead, but simply moves on. That person is not being weak. They are being untouchable. Machiavelli understood that influence is not about dominance. It's about the perception of control. And silence creates that perception more effectively than any boast, rant, or argument ever could. People chase what retreats. They listen to what speaks sparingly. They respect what doesn't need their validation. 5. The strategic use of silence in leadership and life. In leadership, silence is not just restraint, it's a signal. When a leader speaks too much, they betray uncertainty. They explain because they fear misunderstanding. They overjustify because they crave loyalty. But the most powerful leaders say little, and what they say, they mean. Their silence signals confidence, finality, presence. In relationships, the same dynamic applies. Constant reassurance, emotional explanation, or verbal excess often undermines the very bond one seeks to build. Silence, when used wisely, can command attention, test loyalty, and provoke introspection in the other person. This is not game playing. It's energetic calibration. Sometimes your silence teaches more than your words ever could. In negotiations, the rule is simple: the first person to break the silence often loses. Why? Because silence creates pressure. It causes the other party to fill the void, usually with concessions or revelations they hadn't planned to offer. If you can become comfortable in those moments, if you can hold the silence while others squirm, you win more often without saying more. 6. The discipline behind the mask. But let's not be naive. Strategic silence is not easy. It demands discipline. It requires knowing when to speak and when to withhold. It requires resisting the urge to prove a point, defend yourself, or outshine others. It demands internal stillness, patience, and a long-game mindset. And it comes with a cost: you will be misunderstood. People will project onto you. They will call you mysterious, aloof, arrogant, or cold. That is the price of being unreadable in a world addicted to exposure. But that is also your advantage. Because while others seek validation, you seek outcomes. While they reveal themselves to gain favor, you withhold to preserve freedom. While they talk about winning, you win, quietly. 7. Silence as a psychological weapon. There's a psychological edge to silence that cannot be overstated. When you refuse to react, others begin to doubt themselves. They question their assumptions, their confidence, even their own emotions. Your stillness forces them into confrontation with their own inner world. This is the invisible terrain where real influence happens, not through dominance, but through disorientation. Not through aggression, but through absence. In this way, silence becomes a mirror. It reflects others back to themselves. It forces them to reveal who they are, while you remain unexposed. The most dangerous people in any room aren't the loudest. They are the ones who watch, wait, and act only when the odds are in their favor. 8. From presence to legacy. Eventually, those who master the art of silence build not just influence, but presence. There's something unforgettable about a person who doesn't overshare. Who doesn't respond to every attack. Who doesn't chase attention. Who walks into a room and commands it, not with words, but with energy. Their presence is a force. It's built from restraint, patience, and mystery. Their power is not felt in their statements, but in the tension they leave behind after speaking. Over time, that presence becomes their legacy. Not because they were constantly heard, but because they were rarely ignored. 9. The modern world's greatest blind spot. In the digital age, where the loudest often appear to lead, this strategy seems almost counterintuitive. But that's precisely why it works. People are so addicted to expression that they've lost the ability to observe. So desperate to be heard that they forget how to listen. So reactive to provocation that they become easy to read, easy to manipulate, easy to defeat. The one who can resist this current, who can stand calm amid chaos, silent amid shouting, is not weak. They are the exception. And that exception controls the game. Because in a world of noise, silence becomes signal. In a world of abundance, restraint becomes power. In a world of constant reaction, stillness becomes dominance. 10. Final reflection, the shadow crown of the quiet. Silence is not the absence of power. It is the mask of it. It protects your energy. It shields your strategy. It keeps others guessing. And most importantly, it keeps you in control of your time, your emotions, and your path. Yes, it will make you uncomfortable at first. Yes, it will confuse people. But eventually, it will separate you. It will elevate you. And it will teach you the most important lesson of all. Real power doesn't announce itself. It arrives uninvited, speaks minimally, and leaves an impact that echoes longer than words ever could. So, the next time you feel the urge to explain, react, or prove your worth, don't. Pause. Breathe. Say nothing. Let your silence do what your words never could. Let your actions speak in a language no one can ignore. And let the world discover, too late, perhaps, that the one who said the least was the one who moved the most. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. You just need to be deliberate. And sometimes, the most deliberate thing you can do is simply say nothing at all.